Hi everybody, this is Alice Bejeweled Hedgehog. I am back. I am feeling better. When I woke up this morning, I thought I wasn't even going to do a blog today. Vlog. But over the course of the day, I've been feeling better and better. You know, I think I felt so badly last night because, you know, sometimes when you get sick, you think, oh, I should eat something and that'll make me feel better. Well, if you suddenly get a fever on top of eating, the food does not digest. Unfortunate things happen. So anyway, I was careful today. I had broths and soups and lots of tea, and I slept an incredible amount. So hopefully things are going to be fine tomorrow. Let's see. I'm trying to organize my personal life a little better, so I did something kind of unusual for me, although I see other people doing this. I made little notes, because so often when I turn on the camera, my mind just goes blank. But the first thing I have is a question for people. I went down to check my mailbox this evening, and we have a mail room in the lobby, and there's a big, recycle basket there so that you don't have to take the junk mail upstairs and then just bring it back down to the big recycle thingies outside. So when I was about to drop in all my unwanted catalogs and stuff, I saw Newsweek poking up. I'm covering the label so you can't see who it belongs to. And my first thought is, wow, somebody didn't like Newsweek and they just pitched it. So all the way up on the elevator, I'm like leafing through the articles thinking, wow, I got a free magazine. I mean, look, this is not like I'm a raccoon rooting through the trash can, okay? It's a it's a recycle bin in a mailroom. It has like junk mail, and that's it, no icky stuff. But anyway, and then it suddenly dawned on me, what if it's not supposed to be recycled? I mean, what if he was the person who the magazine is for, and I can see his apartment number so I know what to do with it, was just standing there, dumping his stuff, and his Newsweek got caught up in with it, and he accidentally recycled it, and now he's going to be wondering why he never got his Newsweek. So then my thought was, okay, I feel kind of funny just not walking up to a stranger's apartment, knocking on their door and saying, here's your Newsweek. But I figured I could go to the front desk and explain, and they could do something about it, because there's a concierge down there, and this is apparently what they're for. So that's not an issue. I know what I have to do. I should take it to the concierge and tell them that I think it was accidentally recycled. But here's where the question comes in. I mean, it is a Newsweek. It is in my hand. And it's like almost 10 o'clock at night. Is he really going to be reading it? But I know somebody who slept a lot today and is going to be definitely having some spare reading time tonight. So would it really hurt if it got taken to the front desk tomorrow morning? And does it really damage a magazine to read it? So I guess this is a long-winded way of asking, do you think it's okay to just, read the darn magazine myself tonight, and then take it back downstairs and get it, returned tomorrow morning? Or is that cheating somehow? Should I just go down later tonight and return it? But anyway, so much for that. Now I'm going to put my devil horns on. Thank you, Andy, because I am mad. I am really mad. So if you do not want to hear whining, complaining, fussing, and a rant, just wait until you see the devil horns disappear. Okay. People who live in apartment buildings can be incredibly thoughtless and stupid. We have, at the back entrance, a huge area where they have all these big, gigantic, like industrial-sized recycle bins that are all labeled for all the different things. And and they have the pictures on them and everything. There's no way, no matter what language you speak, you can't figure out what bin to put your stuff in. And it's hard to miss that those are the recycle bins. Okay, and then also in the lobby they have them, the mailroom they have them. Now, they used to, in the elevator areas, the elevator lobbies on each floor, they used to have two small, ordinary blue recycle bins, like you see in, outside of people's houses. Not the big ones on wheels, but the little square ones. And I guess that was to spare you the inconvenience of having to go outside in bad weather or go downstairs. But people were being really stupid with them. People would, like not rinse out the bottles and stuff. So, you'd have these icky bottles with still juice encrusted on the inside or whatever. And it was nasty to have to look at that mess when you went to take the elevator. And lo and behold, one day they disappeared. And I figured that was because that they were disgusting and enough people complained that they got taken away. And I asked, and yep, that was what was going on. Well, that was pretty clear. All the recycle bins are now gone, and we got notices. Do not leave your trash or / recycling in the elevator lobbies. Take all the recycling, blah, blah, blah. So what do people keep doing? The recycle bins are gone, guys. They keep dragging. Now, some people put it in bags. You will see, a bag with recycling sometimes neatly in it, like it's the bag that they were keeping it in their kitchen, and then they just carried it out and stuck it in the elevator lobby. Not a great thing. But you'll walk by, in the morning, and you will see cereal boxes. Some of them aren't even flattened. Just empty cereal boxes, a couple of empty juice bottles. And it's like, oh my God. This is really disgusting. Why are you doing this? And so it's like, Oregon comes by, twice a month. I don't have any pests, thank God, because I keep all that stuff out. I take my recycling out, even though I have a relatively small amount. Number one, I rinse it. I don't want to smell a juice bottle going icky in my own kitchen. And, so anyway, and I just came up from getting the mail, and there's another pile of crap in the elevator lobby. Oh, and the other thing is, I have seen the cleaning staff just dumping that stuff in the regular dumpsters. I guess because it's not their job to do the recycling from floor to floor because we don't have the bins there. And I think they're so disgusted at having to pick trash up off the floor with their bare hands that they just want to throw it out. So if these morons, and that brings me on to something else actually that brainless Susie Cusey was talking about. I'm not up on everyone's most recent videos, but I saw her video where she was talking about people who say rules are meant to be broken. Are you serious? I mean, do people who say that, do they really? I mean, is that what the people who are leaving the trash on the floor in my building? I pay rent for that lobby. That lobby is as much mine as it is theirs. Is that what they're thinking? And a lot of times, people with kids, I guess, have a, more kid-oriented mentality than I do. Because I got some great advice from Miss Chris, and then Susie Cusey was talking about when you say those things around your children and your nieces and your nephews, what ideas are they getting? And that made me think about, what kind of things do I say in terms of rules and following rules around my nieces? And I realized I really do say some stupid stuff. I will say, in fact, it brought to mind an instance where I said, oh, fashion rules are meant to be broken. And people who know me know that I'm talking about all those fashion rules for larger ladies, like we're not supposed to wear large prints because we'll look like sofas, and no stripes and blah, blah, blah. And I wear bright colors, stripes, large prints, I wear whatever I want to because I don't care. But, when they hear that, what do they think? I mean, the kids, there are kids, I see kids going to school in pajamas. I think I would have been sent home. I mean, way, way back in the 70s when I was in school, if I had shown up in pajamas, I think I would have been pulled out of the very first class I appeared in and sent to the principal's office and made to wait there until someone came and got me. I guess they're not doing that now, but anyway, have I caused problems in the morning? Because when I say, I break all fashion rules. Or, would one of my nieces interpret that as go to a business meeting in a slinky sequined evening gown? I mean, not that they go to business meetings, but, go to school in pajamas and then be mad when they're told no because Auntie does. Auntie breaks the fashion rules. So I guess what I'm getting at is, number one, when you have kids or are around kids, you really have to watch what you say, because especially with teenagers, they seem to stick little filters in their ears where they seem to hear nothing that you want them to hear and everything that you don't. And then the whole concept of rules. I mean, that she really got me to thinking, because I have always just in my head thought about, I hate to follow rules, but do I? I mean, not really. I always followed all the rules regarding my apartment. I certainly follow traffic and legal rules because I don't want to be arrested and I don't want to die in a car accident. I guess more what I'm thinking of is structure and not structure. I mean, you have lots of choices, actually. When you think about it, there are relatively few die-hard rules. I mean, there are the laws of the society we live in. There are, traffic rules and laws involving crime and whatnot. There are workplace rules. There are rules in school. But a lot of rules that people seem to want to break come from choices they've made about what they're doing. In other words, my sister practices Orthodox Judaism. She converted when she got married. And I'm not Jewish, obviously, but I had someone ask me once, well, you spend all the time with your nieces, you've made some changes to your kitchen so that you can feed them, some kosher foods, and, why don't you just convert too? And I had to stop and think about it, and then I realized, well, if I were to suddenly wake up one morning and decided that I believed in Judaism above and beyond any other religion on the planet, so much so that I wanted to convert to it, I would still not be Orthodox. They're all shades of Judaism. There's Reform, Conservative, and then within Orthodox there's the modern Orthodox, which is what she is, and then, there's the ultra-Orthodox, like, you think of as the communities in New York where the guys wear the black clothing and things. Because I prefer less structure. So why would I become Orthodox and then break all the Orthodox rules? If I were to become Jewish, I would become Reform, where there's less structure and therefore less requirements or rules. And then that just leads me to, why do people choose to do things that have rules when there's usually an alternative? Why join a club that has articles and bylaws and, auditions and all kinds of things when there are perfectly good alternatives that don't have that? And why resent one over the other? I mean, I guess the perfect example would be my sister and I. I can't see the forest for the trees, and she can't take a walk in the forest without at least 6 field guides to identify everything she comes across. But, I mean, we all have some basic common grounds. Oh, Lord, I've said nothing, and it's been like 13 minutes. Anyway, there's some basic things you've got to follow. And then so many of the other things are optional, so why pick an option that doesn't suit you? But anyhow, I need to do a shout out. And I had a good idea. Okay, 2 things. Shout out first is to C. Watts. She's vlogging. I saw her first vlog and I said, cool. I want to talk about that. I want to do a shout out. I want to make sure other people see her because she's a lot of fun. And then, of course, in my scatterbrained, disorganized way, I don't think I ever mentioned it. But anyhow, do watch her vlogs. And she did a poem that, I just love it. It deals with a topic that it's just a really cool poem. Let's put it that way. It deals with the other woman. I mean, I have never actually married a guy, so you can't really say that if you're married that it's another woman. But if you're in a relationship where the understanding is pretty clear, there's just the two of you, and it's a monogamous relationship, even if it's not a legally married relationship, then as far as I'm concerned, cheating is cheating. And that's another thing about rules and cheating. You know, if you don't want to be monogamous or say that, you know, you're the one and only, then don't freaking say it. Just say, no, you know, I really like you, I'm in love with you, but I'm going to see other women. And then give the woman that you're saying that to the option of saying, I don't like that, get lost. No. Everybody, well, not everybody, many people choose to cheat. And while her poem is purely fictional, boy, does it really capture the emotion of the cheated upon. So I'm going to put a link to her channel down below. And, oh, my good idea. Okay, my good idea is I am loving everybody's poetry. I am just loving it. It's kind of like music. I have no musical aptitude whatsoever, as you can tell from the little birthday videos, but I'm a great appreciator of it. And I would like to say that I'm probably completely unpoetical, but I am a great appreciator of it. So I had this brilliant idea that I can favorite everybody's vlogs or poetry responses and put together this month one big long playlist of poems so that I can have them all the time. I don't know if I will manage to come up with something. Does a silly limerick count? Maybe I can manage to cough up a silly limerick. But anyway, okay, as for my goals, oh, I'm sorry, I stopped ranting more or less and I never took the ears off. Oh well, you've just saved yourself a lot of your life if you fast forwarded through the ear part anyway, so, took the ears off my brain. Oh, look, I made a list. Okay, what did that? Yep, C. Watts, poems, favorite list, magazine question, rules. Oh, yeah. I'm frustrated. You know, maybe I should have just left the ears on. I think this whole thing is going to be one gigantic rant. I wish I had a magic wand that would prevent me from ever feeling sick. Barring that, if I can't have that, what I want is a gigantic pause button, so that if I'm forced to be sick, everybody else will just pause. Wait for me to get better, and then I can unpause it and step back in. Because the world has been turning for these past 2 days, and, you know, obligations and everything else have just been piling up. It's not been going away or on hold or whatever. And, you know, that just makes coming back and dealing with it a horrific mess. And to make matters worse, massively worse, I have all these family obligations. I mean, they're obligations that I have chosen. So, I mean, I don't know if you'd call it an obligation then. I like to do everything, and I like to do everything perfectly, and I hate to scale back. But I'm going to have to scale back, and that's all there is to it. For instance, I finished the gigantic gargantuan blanket for my youngest niece, and I mean, I really had to push on that because it was scheduled for a May birthday, and it's finished, you know, the first week of April. And I think it's good that I did that because she really pushed herself and worked hard to get her room cleaned up and organized. And the thing that I realized, and I think my sister realized too, as she was cleaning her room, is she being the youngest, and she shared a room with the middle niece until fairly recently. Then when the middle niece got her own room, all the emphasis was on, you know, the big girl finally getting her own room. And Ducky just kind of got the leftovers. And one of the things that my sister did was she got these cardboard boxes that fit on the shelves that, you know, Ducky could store her stuff in, and then Ducky got to spray paint them in bright, cheerful colors. And I realized that some of the boxes that she was keeping her toys and stuff in had belonged to her oldest sister and had these big giant M's written all over it. I mean, M is the, the given name of Beanie, the oldest one. And, the littlest one really was, she didn't complain about it, but she tended to have kind of the hand-me-downs and the, oh, your big sister is getting her own room, and so, oh, she doesn't want these old bins anymore, you can have them. So it was kind of important that and I also bought her a set of sheets at Target. They were not on sale, but they were so cute. Target does some really great home stuff. I think out of all the stores, the Target brand of, I don't know what you call it, home furnishings, home accessories, it's probably one of the best I've ever seen. They had these sheets. They're a white background, and then they have on them these adorable little stylized mushrooms and hedgehogs and foxes and little flowers and trees, and they're just all so cute. And they're coincidentally very similar in color to the blanket that I just finished making for her. So I think she's going to be happy, and I think now she actually has a room that is truly hers and not just bits and pieces of everybody else's cast-offs. So hopefully that will be an inspiration. And I am getting way too long-winded. I am going to wrap this up. Yeah, I'm just feeling frustrated. So anyway, I don't know how I got onto that subject. But the whole point of this was, so I made that giant blanket, and I made it out of mill ends, which are exactly the same yarn, for the most part. Except the balls are often small. They're either much bigger or much smaller than the balls you would get in the store. So, to make a blanket that's enough to at least cover the top of a full-size bed. It's not really a blanket, but there's a lot of ends to weave in on that thing. And I have not been feeling well these past 2 days, and you know that even if I were feeling like I was 21 again, the thought of sitting there and dealing with those ends is just overwhelming. I mean, this is a kid blanket, so I left about 3-inch long ends, and what I do on something that I know is going to go through the washer and dryer a lot, not like a delicate scarf or hat, is I tie a knot, even though you're not supposed to, and then I weave, but there's still ends sticking out, and then I weave the ends in to hide them. That way, if anything happens, I can always retie the knot and stick the ends back in again, and I know that a blanket for a 10-year-old is going to be washed multiple times. And there I go off the subject again. I was actually put on medicine for ADD at one point, and it had side effects I didn't like, so I figured I would just try and learn to live with it. So I'm really sorry if in these videos you were having to learn to live with it too. I put an iron hand on myself. It's really funny. This is what I'm trying to teach my niece to do. I have taught myself routines. I taught to school, when I was in school, so that I could handle school and homework. And for work, I have all these routines in place so that really, I mean, you would think that I would be incapable of finishing a sentence coherently, but I have this very rigorous structure so that I can keep track of everything. And on stuff that, you really can't screw up on, like bills. I mean, I have all my bill paying automated, and I have it down to a fine art. You get the notification that the bill's coming in, and then the date it's supposed to happen, check the bank account, make sure it's come out, blah, blah, blah. So on the things that I know will deprive me of, like, food and shelter, I can get it together enough to keep that. But then I think what happens in my personal life is I just get so exhausted by all that, I just kind of go to pieces. And I sort of picture myself as like an astronaut floating in like zero gravity, and there are all these little tiny sparkly things all around her, and she's trying to grab them, but she's just not reaching them, and they're just all over the place. So I think obviously I just cannot deal with setting a huge cage-like structure down on my personal life. but I always seem to be either in a state of total relaxation, reading or crafting, or frantically trying to catch up with things I've totally forgotten about, misplaced, or whatever. And I've got to find some way of some happy medium. So, what was I talking about? It's bad tonight, I think, because I've been sick and tired. And how can I be tired when I slept all day? That's a mystery. Oh, well. Having to gear down on things. So anyway, massive blanket, lots of ends. We want her to have her new blanket when Passover starts. Her reward, her room clean for Passover. And of course I wanted to have every end woven in and everything perfect. Well, that's not going to happen because Passover and the first Seder begin on Friday night at sundown. And that blanket, weaving those ends in, is a big project. My sister gave me 3 balls of yarn and wanted 3 new hats for Passover. Well, she's going to get 1 hat to wear for the first Seders, and then she will receive the 1 more hat sometime over this upcoming week, next week. Because I love to make hats, but making hats for her is a little more difficult than ordinary hats, because what I like to do is just make a hat. Most of them I give to charity because I only have 1 head. And the thing about doing that is I've experienced enough at crocheting that it's not going to come out this big and it's not going to be just the size of the top of my thumb. But there can be some variance in fit, and if you're giving it away, then you know that somebody out there with the right size head is going to, like it. Trying to fit a hat to 1 person is difficult. Because you'll start a pattern and then you'll realize, oh wait a minute, by the time I get to the end it won't fit quite exactly right. And the other thing about her hats is she covers her head. Now, she doesn't use a snood or a headscarf or anything like that, because she believes that you need to cover your head by wearing a hat, but you don't necessarily have to hide your hair. That's just the modern Orthodox perspective. So if I make a hat for somebody to wear outside when it's cold, then it doesn't have to be the same kind of fit and comfort level that she's going to put it on. She's going to wear it to the office all day. She's going to wear it whenever she's out. She doesn't wear them in the house, obviously, but it's whenever she's in a public place. She covers her head. So her hats have to be comfortable and fitting to wear for a much longer period of time than someone who's just doing the fashion accessory thing or the keep their head warm thing. And she's not real skilled at picking yarns. Of the 3 yarns she gave me, 1 is a really cool, I think it's called Red Heart Curly Q. It has a lot of stretch. So I can have tremendous fun with that because, whatever size, any size variance will be covered by the stretch. Then the other yarn she gave me is right here. And yes, it's beautiful, it's sparkly, but it is on, I think it's sequined on a cotton thread. And it's very, very fine cotton thread. And I'm trying to make a pattern that has a lot of give. I'm using double crochets and varying it a little bit to give it sort of an interesting pattern. And it's going to be a tam. The problem is, because the thread is so fine, the little sequins, even though they're small, make it very hard to unravel it. So I'm just having a heck of a time. It has to come out perfectly the first time because I can't really refit it because it keeps snagging on itself when I try and unravel it, but that's okay. I don't know why I'm whining so much. Then the 3rd yarn she gave me, I'm actually going to put my foot down and just say, I love fun fur. Fun fur is beautiful, but I don't see it. I mean, I don't think I'm going blind. I've got bifocals, but even if I try the trick that someone told me about, which is pair up a piece of fun fur with another piece of yarn so you can use the other piece of yarn, as like the guide, it's just so hard to count stitches. And maybe I could deal with it for a scarf, where once you make your base chain or whatever, you can just kind of go with it. But for a hat where there's so much increasing and, counting, no. I mean, maybe I'll do something with a border, but I think that since I'm so busy, I will just kind of say, no, I can't do that. So anyway, and as for the blanket, my niece will get it on Passover, in time for Passover, and I will tie the little knots and everything so nothing horrible happens. But then I'll tell her I'll just have to come over and sit in her room with her sometime and weave the ends in as I visit. I'm not going to be able to give her the perfect finished product, and that really disappoints me because I like everything to be perfect. But you know what? Life isn't perfect, and I've got to just deal with it. I have talked for half an hour. This is a horrifying record. Sorry, guys. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you I love watching all your videos, and I love all my subscribers. I've been really disappointed that I've been so busy and sick, and I'm not as interactive as I normally am. I love commenting back and forth, and I haven't been doing it as much, and I really miss it. Thank you all for watching. Sorry, it's so long. I'll do I did a really short one yesterday, so I'll do a really short one tomorrow, so it'll maybe all sort of even out in its own weird way. Okay, good night, everybody. Bye.